is going to be the tutorial that's going to show you how to make one of these birds of a feather beanie. And I'm going to be showing you in all sizes, so I'll stop during the video to mention when you need to stop increasing at the top, depending on the size. This is a newborn and this is adult. So what you need for this project is a 5mm hook or size H hook, and you'll need at least 2 different colors. You can use the main color, which is usually the darker color, because the birds really show up more with the lighter color. So I'm going to call my darker color the main color and the lighter color the secondary color. But you also have the option to start with the main color and then switch to the secondary color for the main part of the hat and make the birds the main color. You can switch, it's up to you. So in this tutorial though, I'm going to be showing you how to make it like this, with the main color running throughout and the birds being the light color. So get the yarn and the right size hook and let's get started. With your main color, which is your darker color, you want to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And in this beginning chain, you want to slip stitch, and you can hold your chain here so that you don't lose your ring. Now for round 1, you want to chain 2, and then now working into this ring, you want to double crochet 11. And this chain 2 at the beginning will count as a stitch. So at the end of this round, you should have 12 stitches. So double crochet 11 times, and I'll see you back here in a moment. Now when you get done with your 11 double crochets, remember this chain 2 counts at the beginning. So you should have 12 stitches. You want to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to end the round. Now for round 2, you want to chain 2, which counts as a stitch, and then you want to go right back into that stitch that you just slip stitched into and do a double crochet. Now you have 2 stitches in this first stitch. Now for the next stitch and the rest of the stitches, you want to put 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So that's 1 double crochet, and then the same stitch, 2 double crochets. And again, the next stitch, you want to put 1 double crochet, and then in the same stitch, you'll put your second double crochet. You're doubling your stitches this round. So in each stitch, put 2 double crochets, and at the end of this round, you should have 24 stitches. When you get to the end of your row, you want to slip stitch in this top of the chain 2 at the beginning. Now for round 3, again, you want to chain 2, and in that same stitch that you just slip stitched into, put a double crochet. And that will count as 2 in the first stitch. Now in the very next stitch, you want to put 1 double crochet. Only 1 in the next stitch. Now in the next stitch, you want to put 2 double crochets. So you put 1 and then you go right back in and you put another double crochet. Now in the next stitch, you want to put only 1 double crochet, and you'll be repeating this for the whole round. You'll have 2 double crochets and then you'll have 1. The next one you'll increase by doing 2, then you'll have 1, and then the next stitch you want to put 2 double crochets, and then again the next one you want to put 1. So you'll be alternating, doing 2 double crochets in one stitch, then 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets in one stitch, then 1 double crochet. Continue this for the rest of the round, and when you get back up to the beginning again, you should have 36 stitches. Now when you get to the end of round 3, again, you want to slip stitch in the beginning, top of the chain 2. Now if you're making a newborn size, which is this size here, then you want to go ahead and stop increasing now, and then go ahead and go to the hat portion of this tutorial, and I'll show you how to continue. Now if you're continuing a bigger size, then stay with me now and we'll continue on to the next increase round. So to begin the next increase round, round 4, you want to again chain 2 and then double crochet in that first stitch that you just slip stitched into. Then the next stitch you will want to do a double crochet, and then again in the following stitch you will want to do a double crochet. So this round you're going to do 2 double crochets, and then you'll do 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. So I'll show you that again. The very next stitch now will be 2 double crochets worked in the same stitch, and then for the following next 2 stitches we will just be putting 1 double crochet, and then the next stitch we'll put 1 double crochet, and then you're ready to start your next set, which is 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 in that one and 1 in this one, and you're just going to keep repeating that over and over again. 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, then 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. And at the end of this round you should have 48 stitches. When you get to the end of round 4, you want to slip stitch in the top, the beginning chain 2, and then if you're making a baby size hat, which is, my guess is from 4 to 10 months, then you're done increasing, and you can fast forward this video to get to the hat portion of the video. But if you're making this for a toddler to adult size, adult female size, then continue with me. For round 5, we're going to start like we were before. We're going to chain 2, and in that same stitch you want to put a double crochet, giving you the 2 stitches in the beginning again. Now for the next stitch we're going to be putting 1 double crochet. In the next stitch we're going to be putting 1 double crochet, and in the next stitch as well 1 double crochet. So we'll have an increase, which is 2 stitches, and then for this round we'll have 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So the next stitch we'll put 2 double crochets worked in the same stitch, and then now for the next 3 stitches we're going to be putting only 1 double crochet in each of these next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, and this is the 3rd stitch. And then again you'll do another increase by putting 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then again in the next 3 stitches you want to put 1 double crochet. So continue your pattern of 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And when you get back up here to the very beginning again, you should have 60 stitches. Okay, when you get to the end of round 5, again you want to slip stitch in the top of the chain 2. Now for size toddler through adult females, then you're done increasing. And the only size that needs to increase one size further is a man that may have a large head, or if you have a friend that may be a female adult that has a lot of hair and she notices that most hats are too small, then go ahead and do this next increase round. But for the most part, most people should be done increasing. So for round 6 of increasing, you want to go ahead and chain 2, and in the same stitch, again, you want to put a double crochet. And then in the next stitch, put a double crochet, a single double crochet. And then again in the next stitch, double crochet. And again in the next stitch, double crochet. And then one more time in the next stitch, double crochet. So you'll have 2 double crochets, and then the next 4 stitches will just be 1 double crochet in each stitch. So again, the next stitch, you want to put 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And then in the following 4 stitches, you want to put 1 double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then the 4. And then you'll want to repeat this all the way around, doing an increase of 2 double crochets, and then the next 4 stitches only putting 1 double crochet. And at the end of this round, you should have 72 stitches. Okay, when you come to the end of your row, you want to slip stitch into the beginning top of the chain 2. Now we've reached our main part of the hat portion of the tutorial. If you want to make your hat like this, where the lighter color is the bird color, then you want to go ahead and switch now to your secondary color. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this tutorial to show you. But if you want to do it like this, where the birds are made out of the darker color, then you want to go ahead and just stick with this main color that you have now to do the next row. It's up to you. But like I said, for the tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this color pattern, with the lighter color being the birds. So we want to switch colors. And you don't need to cut your yarn, just leave it here. You're just going to be adding your lighter color. You're going to be switching back and forth every row, so there's no need to cut your yarn. What you want to do is just get your next lighter color, and what I do is I usually just fold it, a little part of it in half. Maybe better if I zoom out just a bit. So just fold, take a piece of my yarn like that, and I just fold it like that. And then this part that's folded is what I use as my hook my loop, to pull it through my existing loop. And see, it's still folded. Oh, upside down camera. It's still folded. It's just basically folded in half to make my loop. So I got now my loop as my working color. And what you want to do is just grab your main color here. You can just tighten that loop down, and then you can just pull your other color to shrink your loop. Now you can, don't work over your other color, just kind of move it out of your way because you want it to stay there. So for this round, you want to chain 1 and then double crochet into that same stitch. And I'm going to be working over this little extra tail here as I go. Now you want to chain 2, and then you want to skip 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and then this 3rd stitch, I want to do a double crochet. And then again, you want to chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and this 3rd stitch, put a double crochet. And you'll be repeating this for the whole round. Once you've done your double crochet, again you're ready to chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and then the 3rd, you put a double crochet. Each one of these is a set, and we're doing the first part of the set. So this is the round where we're preparing before we do our next round, which will be working in these skip stitches down here. So this string that you see, you'll be working over it again next round, and you will hide it. It will get hidden. So just continue to repeat that pattern of chaining 2, skip 2 stitches, and then the 3rd, putting a double crochet. And I will see you at the end of this round. Okay, I made it to the end of my row, and I just did my double crochet and chain 2, and then you should have 2 stitches to skip here. And what you want to do is slip stitch in the top of the double crochet from the beginning. And then now you want to drop the secondary color or the lighter color, and you want to grab your darker color that's back here, and you just want to slip stitch that into the loop, and then you can pull the secondary color tighter and then just drop it. Now you're going to be working with your main color again. So for this round, you want to chain 1, and in that same stitch that you just slip stitched into, which is the top of the double crochet, you want to do a single crochet. And then now working in the skipped stitches from before, these 2 here, we're going to be doing the cross stitch. And to do the cross stitch, you're always going to be skipping the first stitch and doing a double crochet in the second stitch. So yarn over, go into this second stitch. So we're skipping the first stitch, we're doing a double crochet, and now into this stitch here that you just skipped, you want to go back and do a double crochet. So you essentially just crossed over your 2 double crochets, one in front of the other, and that's a cross stitch. So now in the top of your double crochet from last round, you will always be putting a single crochet in the tops of all the double crochets, and then in the space again, skipping the first stitch, going into the second, do a double crochet. And then again, going back in through this stitch that you just skipped, do a double crochet to complete your cross stitch. Then you go into your double crochet from last round and do a single crochet. Then you repeat, skipping the first stitch, going into the further one, and doing a double crochet. And then back up into this skip stitch and put a double crochet. And that's it. And then you come to your double crochet from last round again, and you put a single crochet in that. And as you can see, it's filling in the spaces that are in between, and you're completing your first set. So continue this all the way around, and when you get back up to the beginning, I'll show you how to begin your second set. Now when you get done with your last cross stitch of the row, you want to go ahead and slip stitch into the beginning single crochet. And you've just completed your first set. Now to begin our second set, again, you want to grab your secondary color and pull it through the loop. And then tighten the main color, then drop it. And I found that you, I'm sure, have already seen that your yarn is getting twisted. What I usually do is I'll keep the darker color being fed from the, I'm right-handed, so I always try to make sure that I untwist it and I keep my main color to the right, and my secondary color that I'm not using at the time to the left. And if you're left-handed, then you'll want to go ahead and keep your main color that you're working on at the time to the left. It's just easier to feed from wherever your hand is coming from. So every round I switch. So now I'm about to be on my secondary color here. So I'm going to switch and untwist it and keep this side being fed so that it doesn't get all twisted on itself. So a little tip. So let me get a little closer for you. I'll figure this camera out, zoom and unzoom one of these days. Still so new to me. Okay, so now we're ready to start our second set. So you want to start just like you did with this one, which is just chaining one and then going right back into that same stitch that you just slip stitched into last round, that single crochet at the beginning, and you want to do a double crochet, and then you'll be chaining two, and you'll be skipping 2 stitches again, though it's a little easier now for you to see. Whoops, I didn't double crochet in the correct one. See this single crochet at the very beginning? Always want to make sure that you double crochet in the single crochet from the previous round. So in itself, it helps you stay on the right track, like me, that I was just about to get off track. So find that single crochet and put your double crochet in it, and then chain 2. And then like before, we skipped 2 stitches, but it now makes it easier to find those 2 stitches that we skipped because they're the cross stitch that we made. Our double crochets here. So the next stitch where we'll be putting our double crochet this round is again going to be that single crochet. So as long as you're chaining 2 and putting your double crochet in the single crochets, you'll be fine. Because that's exactly what you want to do. So I'm going to skip 2 stitches, which is my cross stitch. 1, 2, and then the third stitch, which is my single crochet, I'm going to be putting a double crochet. And then always chain 2 after your double crochets. And it should fall in pattern and line. You should have single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet. It's just going to keep going in line. So always make sure. So I'm skipping 2, 1, 2, and then my single crochet here, I'm going to put a double crochet. And then chain 2. Skip 2 stitches. And the third stitch, which is my single crochet, I'm going to put a double crochet and chain 2. And continue this all the way around. You're starting the first part of your second set. Okay, when you get to the end of your round, you want to find the top of your double crochet and you want to slip stitch to that top. And then again, you want to find that other color, main color, and slip it through the loop. Then pull the secondary color and drop it. Now you're ready to work with your, oops, I got the wrong color. And you're ready to work your cross stitches this round and finish up the set. So when you begin, you want to chain 1 with your new color, and on the top of the double crochet, you want to put a single crochet. And then you'll be working your cross stitches by putting in the farther of the skip stitches and then backing up just like you did before. And then again going into the top of the double crochet. So you'll just be continuing to do this all the way around, cross stitch, single crochet. Then as you can start to see, your second set is coming along. When you reach the end of your row, you want to find that first single crochet and slip stitch into it. And then you'll continue your sets from here on out the same way as you just did the last one I just showed you. Now, depending on what size hat you're making, depends on how many sets you'll be making. For a newborn size, I'd recommend only doing one more set, which would give you a total of 3 sets. And you can see the sets by the bird. I did the opposite coloring here. So just do one more set if you're doing a newborn. And if you're doing a baby, I would go ahead and do 4 sets. So go ahead and do 2 more rows of, I should say 2 more sets. And if you're doing a toddler, same thing. Total of 4 sets. What is this? Total of 4 sets. And if you're making it for a child or adult woman or a man, then I would go ahead and do 6 sets, which is what this is. Total of 6 sets. 6 birds. So continue on depending on what size you're making and do the amount of sets that you need, and then I'll show you how to do your rim and I'll show you how many rows of the rim that you need. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use this thing I was already working on. You continue on and do the sets that you need, but I want to show you how to do the rim and how many rows of the rim you need for whatever size you're making. Now, if you are making the hat like this, where the main color was your birds, then you want to switch. You want to switch colors back to the dark color because I think it's going to look a lot better and make that part stick out. So switch to your darker color for the rim. And for us, of course, I'm going to stick with the darker color also because it just looks better for the rim. So when you're ready to do the rim, you want to go ahead and chain 1, and then in each stitch around, just going to be going right into each stitch and putting 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And for the baby, the newborn size, you're going to only be wanting to do 3 rows of single crochets. So this will be your first row, and when you get back up here to the beginning, then you'll start your second row. So just continue and put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And this is the newborn size here. You can see I did 1 stitch in each stitch around for 3 rows. So newborn size, you want to only do 3 rows of single crochets. And for a baby or toddler hat, you want to go ahead and do 1 more row of single crochets, giving you 4 rows of single crochets. But there's one difference in the toddler size, which is on the very last row. So go ahead and do the same here. Do your 3 rows of your rim. But on the toddler size, you want to go ahead and start your 4th round a little differently. When you're here and you've done 3 rows of single crochet and you're making the toddler size hat, on the 4th row of the rim, you want to go ahead and single crochet in the next 5 stitches. 3, 4, and 5. And then in your 6th stitch, you want to do a decrease. So you'll go into 1 stitch and pull up a loop. Then you'll go into the very next stitch and pull up a loop. Now you've gathered 2 stitches on your hook. And you yarn over and you pull through all 3 of those loops, and now you've just made these 2 stitches 1 stitch. It's called a single crochet decrease. And then you'll repeat that, doing 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches, 4 and 5, and then you'll do a single crochet decrease. So you'll single crochet 5, and then you'll do a single crochet decrease, and you want to do this 4 times. Then once you've done it 4 times, so we just did it once, twice, and then I'll do it again, and then I'll do it 1 more time. So I'll decrease 4 stitches, and it'll give me a total of 56 stitches, because the rim needs to be a little bit tighter for a toddler. So once you've got your 5 single crochets decrease, 5 single crochets decrease, you've done that 4 times, count your stitches, make sure that you have 56 stitches, and then you cut your slip stitch in the beginning stitch, and then you cut your yarn and you hide it, just like you'll do for all the rims. Now for your adult, for child, adult, female, and the same for men, you'll be doing 5 rounds of single crochets. So this is just 5 rounds of single crochets, and as you wear it, the rim kind of loosens up. So if you have kind of a smaller head like me, the rim may become too loose for you. So if you're an adult female who tends to have the rims become too loose, I like to do decreases for myself personally. So if you want to go ahead and do for the last, for the 4th row, and decrease it, and then do the last row just single crochets, it's up to you. If you want to decrease some of the stitches in the rim to make it fit better on your head, so that the rim won't be too loose. But when you get to the end of your single crochets and you're ready to end, all you want to do is just go into the very first stitch of the round and chain 1, and then cut your yarn. And then you want to work your yarn in through your rim as best as you can, so that from the inside, so that nobody can see. I usually go along the line of the stitches here, and then I'll run it along the line here. So I usually leave myself a bit of a tail and use my tapestry needle to hide my end tail. And then you just tug on it a little bit, making sure that your tail is not going to stick out, and then you'll be done. You'll be good to go. So that is it. That is how you make the Birds of a Feather beanie for all sizes. And I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. And I have the pattern with pictures on my site, so if you need to be double sure about how many rows that you do of the hat and how many rows you do of the rim, depending on what size you're making, then feel free to go there and you'll see the pattern that has all that information for you. Thanks so much for watching, and if you like this video, please don't forget to click like, and please don't forget to share this video. It helps me out so much. And if you're a new time watcher, please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.